On today's episode of Time About the Movies, we see how the Purge franchise began with the very first film in that series. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson starring Old People Don't Know How to Use a Fucking Computer. No, I'm sorry, that's not the title of it. It's called The Internship. Surely it isn't that type of a film. Okay, it is that type of a film. But we also have Joss Whedon's follow-up to The Avengers. And it's definitely something that is much smaller than The Avengers. It's an ensemble version of Much Ado About Nothing. So we'll touch on that along with the other two films as we begin June 2013 today on Time About the Movies.
The annual Purge has commenced.
We ready?
For the next 12 hours, all crime is legal. Emergency services will be unavailable.
We'll be fine just like always.
Your government thanks you for your participation.
Anybody tries to come in, you blast them. The Purge.
Just remember all the good the Purge does.
Rated R.
Yes, just think about it, because we sure as shit aren't going to tell you what the Purge means in the first film. Yeah, that's going to take a couple films down the road, the next film, to tell you what the Purge does. Because literally all they say about the Purge in this movie is that it just works. The Purge works. Okay, how does it work? It just works. Like, we'll touch on that as we go along here. But welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the three films that make up June 7th, 2013. And we are starting off with The Purge. Set in the year 2022. Wow. That got dated real quickly because, yeah, clearly we do not have what happens in this movie. But the film stars Ethan Hawke, Lena Headey, Adelaide Kane, and Max Burkholder as members of a wealthy family who find themselves endangered by a gang of murderers during the annual Purge, a night during which all crime, including murder, is temporarily legal. And the concept overall is really good. It's a really intriguing concept overall. The biggest problem with this film in general, as I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, was the fact that they never really explain why the Purge is supposed to work overall. And, you know, the whole context of this movie basically is that don't go outside for the next 12 hours at nighttime. So it's just like, okay, let's all go to sleep then. It's just like, keep the doors locked, have all the security locked down. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning. I mean, in any other reality, that's what this movie would be about. But no, somebody sees one of the security guards, somebody in the house sees somebody trying to get to the door. They open them up for him, and then that's when all the murderers come out there. And yeah, it's a very intense film at times, but it's a movie that has a lot of polarizing views to it. Some people like it, some people hate it. I kind of felt the same. I kind of felt like I was kind of in the middle of it. I was kind of split on it. I thought the premise overall was a good idea, but the acting overall is good. But it's the fact that all this trouble could have been prevented had this kid not let this one guy into the house. And again, it could have had a better plot to work with overall, a better examination of the plot, I should say. And again, it doesn't explain why the Purge is supposed to do exactly what it's supposed to do. Again, that's going to take the next couple of films afterwards to get to that, the explanation of that. But I mean, once we get to the next couple of movies, that's when the series really begins its turnaround, because it really starts with the next movie, The Purge: Anarchy, and then it continues afterwards with Election Year, and then the first Purge, and then the Forever Purge, which this series overall is very good. It says a lot when the first movie that's supposed to start this off usually is the strongest part of this series, but this was actually the weakest one, because every film that comes after it overall is really good and really does give you a better explanation of what the Purge is supposed to do and how there's both pros and cons to the whole thing, but mostly the cons. But yeah, I think this is an okay movie. It's not a great film overall, but it definitely is a film that has a lot of potential to it and really will show it in the next couple of movies going forward. But this is definitely the weakest one of the series, mostly because they never really give a clear explanation of why the Purge works. It just tells you, it just works. Just go with it. It's just like, no, you kind of have to explain the whole situation. But again, they'll say that for the movies going forward. But for this one, a very mixed bag of a film. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It just needs a better explanation of what the Purge is supposed to do for the people that are stuck inside their houses, and you know what it's supposed to do for these criminals. Because basically, yeah, you get 12 hours once a year to do whatever you want in terms of crimes and all that. And yeah, it doesn't lead to. In this one, it doesn't really explain what it can do. But like I said, Wait until we get later on in the series. They'll explain it, and yeah, it's pretty much better than what they do here in this first film overall. So, good movie, not a great film, but yeah, mixed opinion on that one. So, now let's go ahead and get to what is easily the worst movie of the weekend, and again, another candidate for one of the worst movies of the year. Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn starring in The Internship.
I defy you to crush this course and not get psyched out of your mind.
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket.
The Chrono Shock 13.
They didn't tell you, did they?
Your company is closed.
You closed the company?
Everything's computerized now.
People have a deep mistrust of machines. Have you seen Terminator?
Yep.
Or 2? Or 3? Or 4?
All of them.
Nick, I got it.
Google.
You got us a job at Google?
Not a job. It's an interview for an internship that could lead to a job. Nick, this might be the last chance that we got. Come in here. You gotta come in closer.
Yeah.
We won't be able to
No,
see.
they can
See how
see.
small the
They can
webcam
see.
is? No,
They
kitchen
can
to
see.
cheek.
We can see you guys.
Okay, great.
You got us?
Hi, my name is Billy.
We can hear you fine as well.
Oh, great.
That is literally the entire movie. Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn are too old, and they don't realize that you need to use computers in 2013 because we're too lazy. We're too old to figure that out. Haha, laugh at that. It's funny. No, it's not. It is not funny at all, and it just keeps going on and on and on throughout the course of the entire movie. This is one of the stupidest movies I have ever seen in my entire life, and you can see why it is one of the worst movies of the year, easily. So you have Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson starring as recently laid-off salesmen who attempt to compete with much younger and more technically skilled applicants for a job at Google. No, I'm sorry, not a job at Google, an internship at Google. You know, like I said, the biggest problem with this movie is that Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn are in their 40s. They're way too old to be doing a movie like this. And it doesn't help that the comedy is just fucking awful. All the comedy is that all people over the age of 40 don't know how to use computers, and you know that's the whole crux of this movie. And this is just a terrible, terrible movie. This is a terrible comedy. It's everything that's wrong with comedies in this movie. The jokes are terrible because they're predictable and unfunny. It's that lame comedy they use in a lot of commercials, you know, the lazy humor that actually thinks it's being clever and all that when it's really not. I'm sorry, Geico commercials are not that funny, except for when the lizard is on the screen. But other than that, Geico commercials are not that funny. Neither is the Progressive commercials outside of Flow. Like, we get stupid cliches that need to stop being in this movie, and they keep showing up in a film like this. There's nothing about this movie that's worthwhile or funny whatsoever. This is a lousy, lousy movie that is just so... It feels like it was written by people who have no idea what is... It feels like people that are over the age of 40 that have no idea what young people are like, because that's what it really feels like. Again, it feels like comedy written for a bad commercial, and it's not that this is made by hacks either. The co-writer of this is Jared Stern, who 1 year later will write the Lego Movie, one of the best movies of the decade. It's directed by Sean Levy. Sean Levy is somebody who I consider to be one of those comfort food directors, like a guy like a Peter Siegel or an Adam Shakeman. He'll make movies that may not be great most of the time, but they're fun, entertaining movies. I mean, if I had to pick the worst thing this guy's ever done, this is probably it right here. I mean, this is a guy that made movies that are not great, but still fun films overall, like Big Fat Liar, Just Married, Cheaper by the Dozen, the Steve Martin Pink Panther movie, the Night at the Museum films, Date Night, Real Steel, films we've touched on the show. We're gonna get to some other good ones too, like This Is Where I Leave You, Free Guy, The Atom Project, Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, Sean Levy does not make a lot of bad movies. This is the worst thing he's ever directed, and it's clear that even a guy like him can't save this movie in general here. And Vince Vaughn had a hand in the writing of the script of this. Yeah, again, kind of like what happened with Couples Retreat, which was also not a good movie, but at least Couples Retreat was trying to be funny. At least there was an effort being put in there. This really does feel like a movie where Vince Vaughn's old age started to come out on him. It's just like, you do not feel like Vince Vaughn put his best work into this movie in general. Here, this is the Vince Vaughn of The Watch a year ago, and it's just, which coincidentally, all three of these guys worked on, and that was not a great movie overall either, but at least, again, that one was at least trying to be funny. It at least had some effort and a creative idea behind it. the creative idea behind this is that old people don't know how to use computers and all that. We don't know how to work at Google. Like, you cannot tell me that that there are people that are over the age of 40 that work at Google. Anyone out there from Google who's watching this right now, you know anybody that works there is over the age of 40 and is capable of actually working on a computer? Yeah. I don't even need to talk to these people to know that that's the case. Is that people over 40 know how to use computers and know how to use Google. It's just like, this whole movie makes no fucking sense at all. This is one of the worst comedies I have ever seen in my life. It's lazy, it's not funny, it exists for one joke that isn't even funny to begin with. This is a definition of a terrible, terrible comedy. One of the worst comedies I've ever seen in my entire life. One of the worst movies of the decade. Easily one of the worst movies of the year. I think you get the point. The Internship fucking sucks. So after all that, let's go ahead and get to our last one that we have here. This is a much better movie, and that is Joss Whedon's adaptation of William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing.
By this hand, I love thee.
For we are the only love gods.
Together one time. I want you to get together.
So yeah, this is a very interesting follow-up project for Joss Whedon, coming off of a blockbuster hit in The Avengers. Hey, that's kind of the fun of it all. Like, he gets to do something that is so unique and different that nobody's really expecting to be that great, and lo and behold, he got it right here. This is, of course, based off of William Shakespeare's classic play, which is largely unchanged from that of the original play in this movie, except the fact that it's a modern-day setting, and you have a story here where Leonato, played by Clark Gregg, the governor of Messina, who's visited by his friend Don Pedro, played by Reed Diamond, who's returning from a victorious campaign against his rebellious brother Don Juan, played by Sean Mayer. Accompanying Don Pedro are two of his officers, Benedict, played by Alexis Denisov, and Claudio, played by Fran Kranz. I don't know if I'm even getting these names right, but that's what I'm reading off of IMDb. While in Messina, Claudio falls for Leonato's daughter, Hero, played by Gillian Morgese, while Benedict verbally spars with Beatrice, played by Amy Acker, the governor's niece. The budding love between Claudio and Hero prompts Don Pedro to arrange with Leonato for a marriage. In the days leading up to the ceremony, Don Pedro, with the help of Leonato, Claudio, and Hero, attempt to sport with Benedict and Beatrice in an effort to trick the two into falling in love. Meanwhile, the villainous Don John, with the help of his allies Conrad, played by Ricky Lindholm, and Borachio, played by Spencer Treat Clark, plot against the happy couple using his own form of trickery to try to destroy the marriage before it begins. A series of comic and tragic events may continue to keep the two couples from truly finding happiness, but then again, perhaps love may prevail. The interesting thing about this movie is that this was only shot in 12 days at Whedon's home. And for a movie that was only shot within 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, in the home of Joss Whedon, it's actually very well done. This is actually one of my favorite movies that came out that year, in 2013. I thought Joss Whedon did a very good job of adapting the Shakespeare play to a modern setting and making changes that made sense to the storyline overall, giving it a very funny, modernized take of the tale that had been previously adapted before. We covered one of these versions back in 1993 with Denzel Washington and Emma Thompson, which was okay, but which was a good movie. Nothing too spectacular, but This is what makes Joss Whedon so great as a filmmaker. He can take something that's been done before, make it its own unique thing, and the cast does a very good job of working with it. It's a lot of his regulars, and you can still tell that he has a lot of good chemistry with all of them all together. And it's running at a very good pace. It doesn't. You never really get the sense that you're sitting there for almost 2 hours long, and it doesn't feel like the movie is forcing you to stick with it. You know, it's giving you a good story that you want to stick around for. I think it's a movie, honestly, that's a very niche film, and one that's definitely going to be very polarizing to people who don't know about Joss Whedon's work overall. You either love it for what he does for it by adapting the play to modern times, or you hate it because you won't get the original concept behind the original play, because unfortunately, not a lot of people give Shakespeare the proper respect he deserves as a writer in today's world, especially nowadays, but I personally really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. The way that Whedon manages to put this together quickly and makes for a very good, well-casted, and entertaining take on the storyline here. It is definitely one of the year's best movies, easily, and one you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it already. Seek out Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing. You will not be disappointed by that at all. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Now, the next time we meet, we have a wide assortment of movies, 6 films in particular to take a look at. for the middle of June, we have the long-awaited debut of Zack Snyder's Superman in the Man of Steel, which begins the Snyderverse. And yeah, as much as it later on of what it became later on, I will say nice things about Man of Steel, because there are good things to say about this movie in general. And overall, I actually don't mind it overall, but yeah, there's definitely some problems that come into play later on down the road that we'll touch on as well. We also have the first of many apocalyptic comedies coming out around this time. Actually, no, we had Seeking a Friend for the End of the World last year, so the latest in a series of apocalyptic comedies, I should say, but definitely one of the funnier ones, straight-up funnier ones. This Is the End, featuring a cast that includes a lot of regulars from the Apatow world, James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, Jay Baruchel. Just a ton of cameos in this movie too. We'll touch on that one as well. We'll touch on The Bling Ring from director Sofia Coppola. We have the documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. So that's 4 films. I said 6, right? Maybe it's just 5, because the last one I want to take a look at is not on here, but I know it came out this weekend, and it's one that some of you might Toy Boat. Some of you might not remember was actually a thing when the show was popular at the time, but the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series spawned off a spin-off series where the ponies became human characters. It was called Equestria Girls, and you know, Friendship is Magic has a loyal fan base for not just the kids but adults as well. But the adult fans of the show even admit that Equestria Girls is not that great, but is it worth it? I'll touch on that as next time around, because yeah, some people may not like what I have to say about that. But 5 films overall we'll take a look at next time around, so be on the lookout for that. That should be coming up tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. And don't forget, we have a new Time About the Movies flashback coming up later tonight, so stay tuned for that. But that'll be coming up after I'm done posting this. But with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.